In this video, we're going to look at the concatenate formula and the text formula, and we're going to use them in a specific example. Here, we're looking at different car models. In previous videos, we've taken from this column, we've pulled out the manufacturer, the make, and the type. We've found the country. We've calculated out the sales price, which is really important. And now what we want to do is sort of make a cell that shows a line item that could appear in a catalog, could appear on a poster, could appear on a website, just explaining, this is the car model, what price is it, and now it's X% off. Just sort of one simple line that's almost like an ad for the item. So I'm just going to make this a different color again, and we're going to say this is just going to be our sales promo. So concatenate, what concatenate does is it combines different strings of text or numbers together into a single line. So for instance, if I were to say concatenate, which is a long formula in terms of how it's spelled, CONCATENATE, and I click on here, and then I put a comma, and then click there, and then put a comma, and then click there, what it's basically doing, it will just combine all those items into one just string. No spaces unless we add spaces, which we could do by going here and putting quotes with a space between these items. We could just put quotes, space, quote. Once again, do that here. Quote, space, quote, comma. And now we have these four items connected, separated by spaces. And concatenate has done that for us. So what we want this to say is Acura Integra, and then in parentheses we wanted to say 15,999, and then we wanted to say now 10% off, basically. So let's sort of break that down. We already have the first two pieces of that, and we have our spaces, so let's get rid of this. And what we want is not just a space, we want a space and a parenthesis. Now this gets kind of confusing because this parenthesis is in quotes, and it's not like the next parenthesis. Like this parenthesis is part of a formula. This one is just a piece of text. So keep that in mind. Sometimes if you have parentheses in quotes, they can actually be text. They can actually be not part of the syntax of the formula, not part of the actual formula itself in the way that this parenthesis and that parenthesis is. So we have this parenthesis, a piece of text. So if I hit enter, you can see we have a parenthesis. We have an Acura Integra and a parenthesis. Now what we want, we're going to add another comma, and we want this price to appear. We want it to say 15,999 is the price, right? And then what we want to say is we want to have a comma here. We're going to put a comma there. Once again, this gets very confusing. The comma is in quotes, comma and space. So this comma is fundamentally different than this comma. Like this comma is separating out items in the concatenate formula. These commas are actually doing a function. This comma is within quotes. This is a piece of text. So just keep that in mind. This is a different kind of comma. So if I hit enter, you can see we got Acura Integra, 15,999. We have our comma. It's actually showing up as text because it's inside quotes. And you notice right away this price is in thousands and there's no dollar sign. Doesn't look like what you'd want it to look like. So what we want to do is we want to control how it looks. And the first thing we want to do is multiply it by 1,000. So let's do that. By 1,000. And now we have it in actual dollars. But it still doesn't look good. It still just shows just a bunch of numbers. It doesn't show with a comma, doesn't show it with a dollar sign. It doesn't look that great. So now we want to use the text formula. What the text formula does, much like in number formatting, which is another video where we covered this topic, and it's a very important topic. In number formatting, just to review for a second, if I go here, go to Format Cell, and look at we're already here under the number tab, you can see that I have percents here, I have custom here, and this 0% is actually indicative of how the number is being formatted in Excel. If I added more zeros, for instance, just to review real quick, we would see that this number now looks different. It's being formatted differently. I'm going to undo that, hit cancel. What I want to do though is use the text formula to control how this number is being formatted. So I'm just going to say with this, I'm going to say text begin parenthesis, and then this piece basically is the number part. It's the I3, which is the price, times 1,000. So the next part is going to be comma separated. You can see it shows value and format text. So I'm going to put a comma here, and I'm going to put an end parenthesis just to clear this up, make this easier to understand. So this formula is separate from these commas and quotes and all this stuff. This next piece, once again, is a comma being added, concatenated to the end of our string. What we want to do here, though, after this comma, but within this formula, within the text formula, is when we want to indicate to Excel what number formatting we're going to be using. So, for instance, I'm going to say begin quotes. I'm going to say pound sign, comma, pound sign, 0, quote. What that will do is, much like in number formatting, it will present this number with a comma for thousands. So now we have a comma showing thousands, which is what we want. But we also want this to be in dollars. So we can just add a $sign here, and now it's in dollars. So basically Excel took this number, 15,999.999, we multiplied it by 1,000 here, and with the text formula we controlled how it appeared. We basically controlled the formatting of that number. Great. So now we want to continue this. We want it to say now 10% off. So I'm going to say now in text, in our quotes there. I'm going to put a space. I'm going to put a comma. Now we want our 10% to show up. So I'm going to put a comma again. I'm going to put a in space, a sort of a space in quotes, and then off, exclamation point, and quote. It looks like we're done here, but we're actually not, because this 10% is just going to show up as 0.1. Excel doesn't know. Oh, first let me just add our end parenthesis there in quotes once again. Excel doesn't know what this 0.1 is. It doesn't know that this is a percent. It's not reading the formatting of this number. It's only looking at the raw number that's underlying this percentage, which is in fact 0.1. We have to force Excel to see a percent here, and the way to do that once again is to use the text formula. So we're going to say text, begin parenthesis. I'm going to put a comma and an end parenthesis just to separate this out, make it really clear about what I'm doing. And before this parenthesis, but after this comma, we're going to format the text. So I'm going to say in quotes, once again, you have to put it in quotes or it doesn't work. I'm going to put 0%, which is the correct number formatting to use in this particular case. And now there it is. We have Acura Integra, it's 15,999, and it's now 10% off. I copy this down, and we've successfully created sort of our sales promo line for all of these different great car models. Anyway, thanks so much for joining. Please comment if you have questions and like the video if this was helpful, and I hope you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future.